How you doing, everybody? Arcaders here with another little video about my new role-playing mania, Prowlers and Paragons. Excellent superhero role-playing game book. I've already done a couple videos on it when I first got it, my initial impressions, and after I did a little bit deeper dive into the rules, I did a video on that too. But today's is different because today I was invited to be part of a play session by Sean Patrick Fannin, one of the creators of Prowlers and Paragons. So they invited me in to a game on Astral. And I actually got to play in the system, which was really nice. And I want to thank him and Harry, Rich, Nestor, Catherine, Robert, and Phil for allowing me to play in. They assigned me a character here. My character was Conrad Griffin, also known as Exile, and this is a very like a Justice League Dark type of setting and world. We're dealing with lots of magic and everything else. Now, the session they happened to come into wasn't just a regular role-playing session. This was like their season finale, so it was a huge, big boss fight. And I think I counted at least 34 tokens on the play field. And some of those tokens were groups of minions. So they were like groups of 5. So I would venture to say there was at least 40 to 50 characters on the play field at once. Prowlers and Paragons actually handled that very well. The way it handles minions as groups of minions and threat levels and everything else does a fantastic job. It didn't bog down. If you're doing like a group of 50 people in Dungeons and Dragons, or somebody mentioned Champions, or almost any other system, you got a lot of work to do. And not to saying that Sean didn't do a lot of work. You know, he worked very hard of it, but it was made much easier for him, I would imagine. I think he'd agree with that. So we started off with a big, huge boss fight where one of the bad guys had a magic shield around him. He was doing a summoning spell to summon the big bad into the play field. And one of our characters, his name was Adamant. He used something called in the game a defining moment. And think of a defining moment like Tony Stark getting the gems on onto his armor off the Infinity Gauntlet. That's like what a defining moment is. Unfortunately for Tony, he died. But Adamant just, I think, ended up passing out. But he did something to absorb all the magic and totally negated not only the shield, but the ritual that was going on. And that kind of just turned the tide. And everybody was really psyched about it. I thought it was extremely cool. The people that were playing, they were great role players. They were great getting into character, which I absolutely love. And from there on, it was just going smoothly. Figuring out initiative, you don't have to figure out initiative phases or anything like that. You have an edge score, so if you see, I'll make it just a little bit bigger here, see if you can see this. You can see on the left-hand side the turn orders. Everybody's edge score is the same. Now, there's certain things and certain powers that you can use to kind of affect your edge score, or if you want to jump ahead of somebody else, you could end up spending resolve or something like that to get yourself to act first, which I think is very cool, and it makes initiative very easy. You know, here's where I act, here's where everybody else acts. And do I want to act before him? Well, you know what? I got to come up with some reasons to do so. So it makes a lot of sense. The actual playing, there was a lot of descriptions. There was a lot of cinematic experience to the role playing, which I really enjoyed. Someone was using these 2 mirrors to pull off all kind of crazy stunts, because I guess that was artifacts or something like that he used to channel his sorcery through. But he was doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And at one time, he summoned an army of elves, which sounds crazy and it sounds a little bit OP, but it made sense. It didn't totally overpower the situation, and it was kick ass. It was really cool. So there's a lot of different things that you can do this with the system. I find it to be extremely flexible. Play wise, it goes extremely smoothly. The rolls. One of the things I wasn't certain about after reading the rules, how the rolls would go. How would it be so heavily interpreted to one side or the other? Sometimes I have those issues with Savage Worlds, but it wasn't. You roll your d6s. You have a handful of d6s depending on your dice pool and what you're rolling for. Evens are successes, and sixes count as two. So from that aspect, it went very smoothly. I also have to give some props to Astral. I've never used it before, but I actually liked it. I liked having all my attacks and abilities down on a bottom bar. That went very well. Instead of opening up a sheet like I do in Roll20 and finding, okay, here's the thing I need to do, which I actually don't do anymore because I've got my D&D Beyond hooked up to it, so I can just roll on my D&D Beyond sheet. It shows up there. So I have that on another screen. Some other takeaways from today's play session. The system really encourages you to think outside the box with your powers and what you can do and everything else. There were different instances where people were thinking, how else can I use this ability? How else can I do something with what I've got here? There was at one point I was trapped. There was this villain named Leech, had these tentacles. They started crawling around me. He had me in a partial grab, not a full grab. And I was able to use a resolve point, or if you're thinking in Savage Worlds terms, like a Benny, to get out of it, or fate token, fate coin, or whatever, to get out of it and make an attack, which was a good thing, because if he got a full grab on me, that might have been the end for me. Would have been a short session. But I ended up getting out of it. So it gives you a lot of tools that you can utilize to tell the story of your character as a player as it goes along, which was really nice. I don't know if you can see up there. There's an awful lot. That's just the top of the map. There's a whole bottom section of that map that had even more NPCs, more villains, more characters, everything else. One of the things that was going on here was my character had recruited like a clan of vampires, so I had them fighting with us. There were other people from like the Vatican, everything else. It was crazy and it was awesome. So in short, how Prowlers and Paragons plays, I really enjoy it. It goes so much smoother than just about any other system I've ever played. Goes much quicker. It's easier to figure out, especially if you're kind of new to role playing games. So once again, I highly recommend it. Check it out. My dog is barking, and let me know what you think down below. Do you have any questions on the play style, the rules? Let me know. I'll try my best to answer them, even though I'm still kind of a novice. I've only had the book for a couple weeks now, but in one play session under my belt. But I'm starting to pick up on everything and all the nuances, which there aren't a lot. Everything's pretty laid out. If you think it should go this way, pretty much it does. Anyway, everybody have a great evening. Thanks for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, all that kind of stuff that people ask you to do on YouTube. And I'll talk to you later.